Hi everyone. So today we'll start with xpaths. I'll start with the introduction and then we'll go into depth. So first we'll start with the basics of how to write basic xpaths and using it for Selenium. Then we'll probably go to details of it. So my name is Ajay and welcome everyone. Let's get started. Okay. So in my previous video I've given an introduction to how to write a basic HTML and how it looks basically, but I can tell you that we are never ever going to see such kind of an easy HTML ever in our life. For our coding purposes, we are going to see much more complex things. All our objects are going to be much more complex and the source code is much more crowded. It's not that simple as we have looked earlier. So we were looking at the initial video, we looked at an HTML. This is just the basic structure which we started with. So let's see how an actual web page looks like. We'll go with Wikipedia. Let's see. Okay, so if I go to the website and English, let's see how it looks. So this is the page, how it looks like. It's beautiful, up and running, but let's look at the code. So if I go and try to inspect any of the elements, see the entire HTML codes opens up, right? So as I mentioned in the last video, it always starts with HTML tag, then you might have header tag, body tag, and it always ends with HTML tag. It's not mandatory to end the tags in HTML, but in some of the things like say XML and others, it's really mandatory to close the tag, otherwise it will give some errors. But let's forget it for now. Let's talk about xpaths. Okay, so quickly I'll go to my Notepad++ and we'll start with xpath. Okay, so xpath. So we have heard about xpaths, right? It's one of the major locators that is used in Selenium. So there are two kinds of xpaths. One is absolute and one is relative. Okay, now what is absolute xpath? Absolute xpath is something, it's an xpath that starts right from the HTML tag. Okay, if you start writing directly from the HTML tag followed by blah 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 down to the child and div like this, it is called absolute. So absolute xpaths are not at all preferred. Why? Because the coders keep on changing the pages. Today there is no ad on this page, but supposedly there had been an ad. A new ad will be posted tomorrow, and day after that another ad will be posted. So today the article is this one. You are finding this text from today featured articles, but tomorrow this article will definitely change. So every day new code comes in and this HTML structure changes. So if it is absolute, you are not going to find the locator tomorrow, so it's never preferred. But I'll still show you how to write absolute xpath. It will start with /html /tag name /child tag name and it might go on. Okay, but the way we start with relative xpath is like this. So when we are giving a double slash, it means it could be anywhere in the page. We could start, when we give the locator, it would start searching anywhere in the page, but the combination what we give should be unique. So I know you might not be understanding everything from words, but I'll tell you how to check. Okay, so let's go here. So relative XPath, let's say I'm interested in this particular thing in the news. Okay, so I'll quickly show you. I'll show everything in details and how to do it, but just see how I'm picking up this particular object for now. So I am interested on this particular thing, nothing else as of now. So this is a span tag, and this has got different attributes. So okay, let me tell what is an attribute first. I have talked about tags, right? So say this is the tag name is span. It could be anything, it doesn't really matter. And then it ends, and then there's another ending span tag, right? So within this tag, if we write something, supposedly id equal to, we give something, say abc, then let's say class equal to something, then let's say blah blah, whatever you give here, these are called attributes. Okay, and these are the value of the attributes within the codes. So we use these attributes in XPath to identify objects. How exactly this is done? So first you give the name of the tag here. So here you will give the tag name, and then you will start a rectangular bracket. So it's not mandatory to use the rectangular bracket if the tag name is unique, but if it is not unique, then you have to provide your attributes out here. Like if the tag name is not just present only once in this particular page, like say h2. Okay, so if I am looking for the second header tags, so I'll teach you all this shortcut how to find it, but for now it's just hit on this and Control F will give you this particular space to search for. Here you can search for a string, you can search for XPath, you can search for CSS selector, anything. Okay, so here I'll write an XPath to check whether I'm getting the output or not. So I'm starting with a relative XPath, and this is this tag I'm trying to point out. So this is a h2 tag, right? So I'll just write h2. So see the output right here. Okay, so I am seeing 1 of 10 right here, 1 of 10 in the output. So 1 of 10 means there are 10 h2 tags here. If I go on hitting enter, I'll see other h2 tags coming up. Okay, so for our coding purposes, we normally need a unique value, unless and until we are dealing with some multiple output things. Like if we are counting, say, the number of links in the page, we would not definitely look for a unique value. Then we will look for generic value, which may be, say, here. If we are giving, we are supposedly I'm trying to count the number of links. So here, say 362, right? So here I can see 362 anchor tags are there, which means 362 links are there in this page. Okay, so there's another way to find out that thing. So there's a lot of fun in XPath. I'll just show you. Let me copy this XPath and let me go to console. Okay, so here you can search for XPath. Another way to search for XPath or check if your XPath is correct or not is you write $x. Okay, and you then give a bracket and then double quotes, and then write this, like copy paste this one. Alright, h2, or we were counting the number of tags, number of links, right? So a. there are 362 outputs. Okay, so this we are getting 362 outputs. There's another way to find out the number of outputs. I'll just hit enter here and let's see. Okay, forget about what is coming here. I'll just give $x and I'll give a count and I'll give a brackets out here. Okay, and hit enter. So count is a function of xpath, and if we write it like this, we'll get the count. This is the single output 362. Okay, so we'll have talking about all this fun stuff, but let us go back to the basics first. So here, so the way we write xpath is the tag name, which is maybe the span, and then followed by rectangular brackets, and within the rectangular brackets we have to mention these IDs, the attributes. Okay, so the way we mention the attributes is with the @ symbol. It's a short form of attribute, and we can give either ID or class or whatever is mentioned within that particular tag. So I'll give ID here. Now remember, most of the time ID will be unique, so if you are using ID for identification, you need not use any other attributes of that particular tag. Okay, so ID is ABC, so we'll give that here. So basically it's @attribute, so let me write it in generic way, equal to value. So this is the value and this is the attribute, right? This is the attribute, this is the value, and if we see the actual, we'll get like span and then rectangular brackets at ID equal to ABC. Okay, so we'll close the bracket and your xpath is ready. Now if you have to traverse down the child line, then you have to give a single. Okay, now if you are not like, let me open the source code out here. Let us go to the elements. Okay, let me push this down so that we can see the code a little more. So see, okay, so this is a div tag, right? This is the parent tag, and under this there are various child tags. So there's a div with the ID body content, and under this there is another div which is the child of this div. There's 3 divs basically, and then there are 2 anchor tags. Okay, so let me copy this and write an xpath here, div and @ID equal to Control V. That's it. It will give me my div tag, the entire div tag. So if I have to traverse down the child line, right, so I'll just give another slash and then write div. So by default it will point to the first child. Okay, but if I want to point myself to the second child, and if this child is my requirement, so I can index it with a 2. Okay, this will give me the second tag always, and the output will be 1 of 1. So this is the unique thing. So if I write 3, it will always give me the third child. Okay, and supposedly there are n numbers, there are like 10, 12, 15, I cannot even count. And if I am looking for the last tag, there is a function called last. Okay, so it will give me the last one. This will always be the last tag. Now here it is not visible, so I am not able to see, but otherwise it is the last div tag that will be pointed for that particular parent. Here you are following this line, right? So if you go all the way up, sorry, all the way up, we'll see this is the body content tag, and the last div, last child of this, which is a div, is here, so it will give me the last tag. So supposedly if you are giving 4, let's see where it comes down to. So better go for 3, and we'll come back to our place where we were. So 1 2 3, then 4, maybe 5, you go down in that manner. Okay, so yeah, so what did we learn? We learned how to index and go down via the path. So I'll copy paste this one here, and I'll mention the function, and that is last. Try it out yourself, otherwise you will never remember. Believe me, we forget every day. So here we can give the function last. Sorry, I think it did not copy. So yeah, last, and this will take you to the last div child. Okay, so we learned about this function, right? Okay, let's see what we got next. Okay, supposedly for this, right, supposedly I am looking for something fancy. Okay, I'm looking for this particular div. I have a ID here, I have a language here, I have a dir here, I have a class here, right? Let me look something even more fancier with more number of attributes, so that we can make use of that. Let's open this up, and we have got a close span. We have got okay, ID style. I just wanted to take up something complex, you know. So yeah, let's not waste time, let us take this. Okay, so this is a class, this has an ID, this has a style. Okay, so we'll try to learn something from this tag. So anyway, I forgot to tell you something. So okay, Control Z. Okay, so this was this tag, right? So I mentioned the name of the tag right here. So if we don't know the tag name, okay, and say we have to give a while character, so that while character is star. Okay, so star with an ID, it will match any tags that is called star. So let us write that down. Kind of a regex. So you can replace this by any tag names. Okay, so this is another pointer for you. So I would rewrite this particular thing with a star so that you remember. I keep writing 8 instead of star, sorry. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, so let me go back to div. Okay, supposedly we would go for something fancier. 1 second. Okay, you know what, we'll continue on the next topic in the next video. Yeah, that's it for now.